Hey guys, accomplished the impossible here today with an extremely important video. This is the first and probably last time I will ever say first responders, police jurisdictions, anybody using APX radios, watch this video. This is critical. Okay, in front of me I have two Motorola APX charging banks. I'm going to unplug them real quick and we will go over something. So as you can see, my APX 8000 or 6000 plugs in to both, no problem. Upon inspection, they look alike. They look and feel just about the same. They look and weigh about the same, or they weigh about the same, and they power on about the same. However, I'm going to plug my radio into both of these, and I want you to note what happens. So I'm going to start with this one here on my left. Okay, so radio's plugged in, the battery is acknowledged, charger turns red, and we are charging the battery. Cool. Take this one off and go to my next one. I'm going to set my radio to charge on this one. Notice it's no longer a red light. We have a yellow light. Interesting. Why do we have a yellow light on this one, and why not this one? Okay, let's get into it here. Okay, so on the bottom of this, let's see if I can hopefully zoom in on it. You will see different color codes. And we have red for charging, flashing red is air, solid yellow is reconditioning, green flashing is 90% plus, service life for green and red, too hot or too cold for flashing yellow, solid green is charged, and reconditioning flashing green and yellow. Interesting. So, if that's the case, why would I get a red light, which means it's charging, but if I put it on this charger, it's a yellow light for reconditioning? That makes no sense, right? And maybe the battery is not the right kind of battery. Maybe it's not a... Maybe the battery itself is not an OEM battery. I don't know. Looks pretty OEM to me. I have an answer for you. And I'm not going to just be one of those guys on YouTube that shows you something. This is a super critical bit of information. Again, I stress everybody out there, first responder agencies, police agencies, anybody that uses the APX radio, you need to know this. So, as we saw, this one charges, this one reconditions. What the heck is the difference? So, let's unplug these. I'm going to flip them over. Can you see a difference? Because I can't really see a huge difference. On the right side, it's got all the labeling. On the left side, it's got all the labeling. But wait a minute. Why does the labeling on this one look different from the one on this one? And you know what? Since we're looking at it closer, this one has a Motorola icon. This one is missing a Motorola icon. If you haven't guessed it by now, this is a counterfeit charger. I had to label it non-OEM because it looks so similar to the OEM charger. What does that mean? Okay, so if you are a hobbyist or an average radio user, it doesn't mean a whole lot to you. It doesn't mean much at all, actually. At the end of the day, this counterfeit charger will charge an APX radio. Now, if you are a first responder and you are using this charger to charge your radio, here's where the issue comes in. Okay, the radio OEM charger on my right here, this is an OEM charger. This actually has circuitry inside of it that will recondition, calibrate fast charge, trickle, and show charge life on a battery. Additionally, it has 2 USB ports. The upper port is used to talk to your computer to be a monitoring software, talk with a monitoring software to monitor the battery. The bottom USB port is just a 5 volt out charging port for whatever you want to use it for. This, I believe, is maybe a programming port for the charger itself. If somebody from Motorola wants to jump in and tell me what this is, I'd love to know it. I don't personally know what that port does. So, why is it important that you get an actual charger if your life depends on it? Well, for one thing, this particular radio doesn't show it. But when you have an Impress 2 battery, there's a battery icon that shows up in the top of the screen. For example, my APX 7000 shows this battery icon. Now, if you do not have a charger that can recondition and calibrate the battery when it sees fit, you will lose that battery icon. That battery, they call it a, there's a bunch of different people out there calling it like my fuel level, sort of stuff like that. So if I was to go out and I bought a Impress 2 battery, and I use a non-OEM charger with that battery, the charger will charge it. It'll charge it full. But after about a couple of weeks of using said battery, the battery will lose its ability to show a fuel level. That's extremely important if you are on the fire ground or on a call or anything. You need to know your battery is charged and ready to go. So, what happened is, this is a non-OEM knockoff charger that was procured online through a reputable source, mind you. Called them, told them, hey, this charger is not an official Impress charger, something's wrong. They said, okay, we'll look into it. Thank you for letting us know. They kindly gave me a refund. They didn't want it back. And they immediately sent out a new OEM Impress charger. So the issue with this is this charger, in some cases, can come in batches from Motorola that are not good. So if you are a Motorola-centric department or anybody that uses a single charging dock, make sure when you get this, it has a Motorola brand marking above Impress 2. Additionally, the Motorola icon is missing off of the black dot, whereas the OEM one is there. So somehow a supplier of some sort worked their way into a supply of non-OEM chargers, and it fell apart real quick. So this is a known issue with Motorola. It's nothing new. There are bad stocks of these around. There's forums out there covering this subject, and it's just stay away from them if you are a entity where your life depends on your radio. So keep that in mind, and if you are not using these radios for first responder or preservation of life and property, a non-OEM charger is no problem. It's going to charge the battery when you need to charge it, and it just will, your battery over time will lose the ability to give you that gauge. I personally didn't like that. I need to have my gauge. I like having the gauge on the battery, regardless if I'm using the radio in any situation, especially life and safety. On the original charger, on the OEM charger, I noticed it is a little heavier, just a little bit. I feel like it's just a tad bit heavier than the knockoff. So what happens when you put this battery on the charger? The battery charges it And as we saw in the yellow light, it's calibrating the battery, and it's kind of working in a memory into that smart chip in here and telling the battery, hey, you're starting at 0% and you're going up to 100. I take this off, I come charge it for another day, it charges, but the guts in here are communicating with the smart car, with the little chip in here, just making sure that it knows where its battery life is. If the chip in the battery does not match what the charger is telling it to do, the charger will get kicked into a recondition mode, and that is that yellow light is reconditioning the battery, and that can take a while. It can take anywhere from 2 to 5 hours. So make sure your charger has the ability to do that. Another way to do this, if you're not sure if you have an OEM charger, is plug your charger in, green light comes on. If you have a OEM charger and if I plug my battery in, this is not calibrated, but let me see if I got another one here. Don't know if I have any more spare ones. Let me try it. Oh, that one. Let's see if this one works. Okay, all of my batteries need to be redone anyway, most of them. If this was charging it and I wasn't sure, what you would do is you put your battery on, wait about 2 seconds. Okay, there it goes. So it's charging it. Put your battery on, wait about 2 seconds, pick the battery up, put the battery back on, and it lights up yellow. Only actual Impress chargers will do this. Now, let's take the other charger with the same battery. This is the non-OEM one. I labeled it so because you can see how that could get really hectic real quick. We're going to unplug the battery that I know is good. We're going to plug it in here the same way we did. Okay, it's red. It's acknowledging that it's charging. Now I'm going to unplug, plug it right back in. Stays red, no yellow. When you take the battery off and you put the battery on that quick, that forces a recalibration of the battery. So if you are curious to see if you have an OEM Impress 2 charger, do this, and this will tell you that it's legit or not legit. If it is not legit, please, 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 please reach out to your local radio office, your county, and make sure you are using the right chargers, because the last thing you want to do is get onto a fire ground and your battery level is not showing up on your radio and you have no clue if that battery is going to be dependable through your call or whatever response you're running. Super important. I can't stress this enough. I hope that this channel helps with this a little bit. I'm going to try to get some words out there on this one because this is very important. I didn't even realize that knockoff Impress 2 chargers were a thing. So be very wary of that. Make sure you know what you're buying. And sometimes it's just a bad batch. You know, Motorola has a precedent and has proved in the past that they don't have the best quality control for their chargers, and there's plenty of forums online to support that. I'm not saying Motorola is a terrible company. I still think their products are phenomenal, but with their peripheral devices, sometimes they're lacking in the quality. So if Motorola is watching this, don't sue me. You still have a great product. Anyway, just keep in mind, and it could not be Motorola's fault. This could just be Motorola going through another company to provide the radio to somebody else, and that's just a problem. And then at that point, Motorola can decide if they want to give that specific supplier another chance or not. So again, unplug this one, that one on red, plug it in here, and it immediately pops up with, hey, you need to calibrate. So it's going to calibrate. I'll leave it on there. Anyway, hope you guys found this helpful. If anybody is curious about this issue or known issue, please leave it in the comments. If you are wanting to know more about it and further troubleshooting steps to see if you have a non-OEM or OEM charger, put it in the comments, or you can send me an email directly. My email is on my YouTube channel. That being said, this is Accomplish the Impossible, out.